Uh, Hello there. I wouldn't be doing this if Governor Wash hadn't made the entire team do this. Apparently, she thinks talking about some of our past and what we are feeling will help us as agents. This present case, it's pretty personal. I brought up some past trauma for some of the teams, so I get it, Anyways, here I am doing this video shit, I guess. So yeah, let's talk. First and foremost, my name is Mario Hernandez. Now, before I get to my wonderful life as an FIB agent, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I don't talk much about them, but I do have a family. It was me, my parents, and my sister. See, growing up, she was the cool one in the family. So I was the nerd kid into magic and wizards and shit. Our parents weren't rich, but they made it work, We were actually from the poorest side of Los Santos. My sister and I made the best out of the opportunities that were given. Man, we were the best of friends. She played a guitar while I showed her magic tricks. I just knew I was going to be a magician. Magic was my whole childhood. Until my sister had a music gig one night, but she couldn't leave me by myself, so I was going with her. After her gig, there was this new wizard comic I had to have. And it was only 10 minutes from where her gig was. On our way there, we witnessed a girl getting mugged. It happened a lot where we were from. And my sister got out of the car to help her while I stayed in the car scared to death. God took out a gun and shot the girl he was mugging and my sister. 2 shots to them each, both. Pow, 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 pow. That's all I heard before I looked out of the window and saw my sister lying there bleeding out. When I got out of the car, it was then I realized she was dead. I was 13 years old that day. Magic died for me. She died trying to help somebody, and I couldn't do anything but sit there and watch, too afraid to do anything. After she died, my parents got a divorce when I turned 14. They blamed themselves for what happened. They couldn't deal, so they split. I stayed with my mom after that, but she was never the same. My sister died a hero in my eyes. Her death that night, that's when I knew what I wanted to do with my life. So the next couple of years go by. I got rid of the dorky clothes, I cut my hair, and I grew up. My mom barely paid attention to me at this point, so I focused on school. I was into my books because I knew I wanted to do something that means something in the future. So I studied my ass off my whole high school years. I didn't have a lot of time for a girl back then. Maybe 1 or 2 dates here and there, but I didn't have a serious relationship until her. Christy Chambers. The first time we met was on campus at USLA University. We had a biology class together and had to be lab partners. I guess I never really paid attention to women in detail, but she really caught my eye. So beautiful, but yet you could see she had a past. A scared past, but so did I. So who was I to judge? Anyways, after we became partners a few more times, we finally decided to chill together after classes. Months went by and we started dating. Man, everything was a breeze back then. We did a lot together. Actually, it wasn't until months later that I found out that Riley, yes, Agent Riley, was the one who convinced her to give me a shot. She was unsure about me. But everything was bliss back then. She made me believe in that feeling of magic again. The one I lost when my sister died. Complete bliss. During the summer of our second year, she and Riley decided to join the service. To pay for school, personal reasons she refused to share with me. Christy and I talked about it, and I didn't like it at all. I didn't like it because I would still be in school studying to become a paramedic. So it meant we would have a distant relationship. Her exact words to me were, "It's not for you to like. This is my choice, and you can either be here when I get back or leave now." I stayed. So she enlisted and I visited her on base whenever I got the chance. She stayed enlisted for 4 years. When she got back, that's when things got serious, but weird. Chrissy came back for the service. I was still on my way to becoming a paramedic. I had done everything but pass my paramedic exam. Christy came back a decorated soldier. Apparently out of her 4-year serve, she saved many lives and was every example of a great soldier. She came back with an already given job. She was to join the Los Santos SWAT team in 6 months after her service completed. She came back with everything she wanted, but she also came back different. Her eyes were no longer hiding a scary past like in college, but instead a hunted one. And she became more and more distant, and she never talked about what she was feeling really. Who knows what she saw over there? It made her different. So, figuring I could fix things for us, I suggested we move in together. It was a big step, but I loved her, and I wanted her to know that I was here no matter what. We moved in together and everything was great. The next year we got engaged. And hell, we were even trying for a baby at one point. It was all good until it wasn't. I finally became a paramedic, and I was so happy. It took me years to get to this point. Up until this point, Christy was the one providing everything. We got the apartment, the car, and monthly checks all from her being in the service. Then on top of that, $70,000 a year from being in SWAT wasn't bad either. I mean, I had a part-time job at the hospital, but it never felt like much. So I was happy I finally got to where I wanted to be. I was finally becoming the paramedic I set out to be, and Christy was so happy for me. Everything finally felt right in my life, so I told her we should move the wedding up. We planned it in 6 months. 2 weeks before the wedding, I found a letter addressed to Christy. It was congratulating her for getting the position of a FIB agent. She was to move from SWAT and become an agent immediately. I should have been happy for her, but part of me wasn't. I think at the time I was jealous, and maybe I was scared. Here I was, busting my ass for several years, getting to one position, and she gets moved up from a great position to an even better one later in almost 2 years' time. I started to feel like she didn't need me around for real. She could handle herself. She already bought the apartment, the car. She made the most money. Not a damn thing was needed from Mario Hernandez. I knew if I told her not to go for it, she wouldn't listen to me anyways. And if she did, she would have regretted it. I was afraid that she'd grow more distant, that eventually there wouldn't be anything left in this relationship to hold on to. I loved her too much to ask her not to go for something great for my own selfish reasons. So I removed myself from the situation. I left. I'm not saying I was right for how I did it, but I'm not wrong for feeling how I felt. I packed up some things and I left Los Santos behind. I didn't tell her I was leaving. I went up north and I started over. And after all that work to get to where I wanted to be, a year later, I ended up quitting being a paramedic. I couldn't save this family from being burned alive in a really bad house fire. Someone had purposely set the family on fire. And I remember the little boy holding my hand as I put him in the back of the ambulance. I told him that he would be fine. He died within minutes. I would never forget his face. It was too much for me. And that's when I decided I was going to stop these things from happening before they occur by catching the person responsible. Stop people like whoever set that fire and people like the guy who killed my sister. That's when I went into the police academy. I was the first rookie to become a detective within a year. 3 months later, My captain told me he recommended me for a position he thought I would be great for, joining the first FIB tactical profiling team being put together in Los Santos. I knew what it meant. It meant coming back home. I would have to leave everything I built to go back to a reminder of everything I let go of. But it was too good of an opportunity to pass up. I joined the team, and even as gruesome as our cases have been, it's been the best damn decision I've made. This team, man, this team. The more cases we take together, the more we're becoming a family. Something I haven't had since I was 14. Make me feel complete, you know? Also, I've been trying to patch things up with Christy because I'm not proud of how I left things. She's coming around more to it, and for that, I am glad. But, yeah, that's me. That's my story. Now, let me show you around. This is my current hotel room. Well, penthouse. See, this is my sister's guitar. I still have it. Reminds me of the good times we had. My signed football from the Terry Price. I smoke on occasion. I don't have all my shit unpacked because I'm lazy and... Oh, here's that vape. I was looking for it earlier. Anyways, I gotta go. This current case requires my attention. I'm not sure if this is what the governor wanted, but this is all I got. So, until next time, see ya.